Hello.
Hi, everybody.
Kayla Lord
John Brownstone.
of Loving BDSM. Back. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Another 5 things you ought to know. There's a lot of serious stuff going on in the world right now, and we're trying to keep some of our topics maybe fun and light and useful.
Yeah, definitely useful.
Especially for DS relationships that might be going through some changes with everything going on. So this week, we're going to talk about BDSM checklists.
Number 1. They're commonly used in new relationships.
Right. So BDSM checklists are sort of the stereotype when you are new to kink or you're new to a specific relationship, whether it's a power exchange DS or it's just a top-bottom situation. Partners will sit down and they'll go through this checklist. It's referred to as a yes, no, maybe list.
It's a good stepping stone when you're starting out.
Because essentially a BDSM checklist is a list of potential activities, sensations, experiences you can have within a kink experience, and you go through and you say, sure, I'd like to try that. Hell no, I don't want to try that. Maybe. And so, yes, they are most commonly thought of as a new relationship thing. But as you'll see when we get further in this list, it's not true all the time.
Right. Number 2. They help you negotiate kinky play and DS.
So because there's so many kinky activities on a BDSM checklist, most people think of them in terms of only kink activities. Are you into spankings? Are you into bondage? Are you into this? But they can be used to negotiate your power exchange.
Absolutely.
Some BDSM checklists have a section that is specific to Dom sub, and then you can use the activities to say, well, within our power exchange, we want to do these things, we don't want to do that. At the same time, I have seen at local BDSM dungeons, there will be yes, no, maybe negotiation sheets that people can use to negotiate a scene. And it's not quite the same as a really thorough BDSM checklist, but it's the same principle, and it's specific to kink activity. So it can be used both kinky play and a power exchange.
And they have different types. I've seen one. I was a member of a rope group for some time, and they had a checklist of sorts specifically geared towards rope.
And that makes total sense.
Yeah.
So you can, if you are either in touch with your kink community and a specific kink, bondage, for example, you can sometimes find templates for, or people who have put out checklists specific to your kink or specific to power exchange. You could almost say that a DS contract is a little bit like a BDSM checklist specific to power exchange. The difference being a DS contract, whether it's a fill in the blank kind or when you write, you don't have the guidance of a checklist that tells you this is a thing you could do. Do you want to do it or not? And that's what a checklist's job is to do, is to kind of, for things you can't possibly think of yourself because you don't even know it exists, it gives you that information.
Brings us to number 3. They can be used in long-term relationships.
So the stereotype is that it's a new relationship. You sit down with this checklist. It's how I have used checklists in the past. Before we played, we sat down and did this. They can absolutely be used in existing kinky relationships. Whether you got into kink and didn't even know a checklist existed, and now you're like 2 or 3 years in and you're like, oh, well, maybe we should try that. That's totally legit.
Yeah.
Or you're reassessing your relationship and you know things need to change, but maybe you're not quite sure how, and you want the guidance of a checklist to even give you the information of what is even an option.
I mean, over time, we have changed. You have tried things that you, at one time, you would have said, no, I don't want anything to do with that.
Exactly.
And you were at least willing to try them. Some things you did like, some things you didn't like, but you at least gave it a try.
Right. And that's the nice thing about a BDSM checklist. It gives you that freedom to say, no, ever. That's what the no means. Or maybe, like, but maybe not right now. And they're conversation starters. So you can go, well, what is that? I don't know. Well, let's go research it and learn about it. And then you learn about something and go, oh, no. Or, oh, yes, please. But it gives you information you can't possibly have as somebody who has, maybe just entered the BDSM community, or you've only known sort of a part of the BDSM community. Like you're really into impact play and you can talk about impact play all day long, but you don't know anything about bondage. Well, a BDSM checklist can help you know different parts of bondage, or at least know different concepts that you might not otherwise hear about.
True. Number 4, they help you figure out what you want and what you don't want.
So a lot of people think of a checklist in terms of, here are all the things we want to do, and we have to figure it out. That's that yes category. But it's also good for weeding out the things that you don't want to do.
Yeah.
So it could be that it's something that your partner is interested in, but you're not, and you see that there's a place where you're not. When I say not compatible, I don't mean that in a negative way. It just means that your interests don't align there. And it allows you to see where your interests do align. So then you can focus on the things you commonly want to do together versus the things that one of you is interested in, but the other one of you isn't. And you can set that to the side and not worry about it, because you're going to focus on the things you want to do together. But that is the purpose of the checklist, is to figure out what you do want to do and what you don't want to do, and then maybe what you might
want to do.
Maybe later.
Brings us to number 5. Your answers may change over time.
So I say this from personal experience and knowing a few other people this has happened to. The things that I was a big fat no on, there are some of the things in that list become maybes, and then sometimes they become yeses. Not always. Sometimes we have hard limits. We're like, heck no, I'm not doing that thing.
Right.
But sometimes we say no because we don't really know about it. We don't quite know about ourselves yet in kink. This is especially true when you're new to it. We haven't developed the trust between us, in our power exchange, to feel comfortable with that. And then you may go a year, 2 years, 5 years, however long, and redo your checklist, and those no's might become maybes.
You were that way with rope in the very beginning.
Oh yeah, I was like, I'm not interested in rope.
You didn't want anything to do with rope. And now, it's not something you're like very enthusiastic about, but you enjoy it.
Right. And before I was like, I don't even want to think about it. Oh, we're talking about spankings? Yes, I'm here for that.
Right.
Oh, we're talking about rope. No. And for me, it wasn't a hard limit. No, it wasn't. No, I'm not interested in that. I'm totally not interested in that. Part of that was because it's not a kink of mine. I have learned over time that something can be not a kink, and it's still something you participate in, because to be a rope bottom is an act of submission for me. So I reconcile it with my submission, not necessarily my, enjoyment of rope. Also, I found things to enjoy about it that I can't get from any other activity. Like for me, rope has that very huggy, squeezy feeling, and I enjoy that. And there's some intimacy that I would not have known about when I first did a BDSM checklist. So of course I was like, yeah, no, I'm not interested in that.
And you were very thrilled that time when I bound your legs and turned you into a mermaid.
Oh, that was fun. Also, it was pretty rope, made pretty picture. Also, I enjoyed the time you made a rope harness with the magic wand, Hitachi, and we basically reenacted a multitude of porn scenes where that occurs, and it was great. So that's the thing. When you first do a checklist, you're basing it off of information you have at the time, what you know at the time. And if it's a checklist you're doing as a new kinkster, you just don't quite know as much as you will later. So going back and redoing a checklist with an existing partner, or just for yourself, you can do it as a single person. You don't have to do it in a relationship, can allow you to reassess what you are interested in now that you couldn't have conceived of before. Hard limits, I've not heard of a lot of people saying that those shift over time, but sometimes they do. Sometimes we had a hard limit because we were scared of it, and we're like, that is never happening, because in your mind you're like, because I am terrified. And you're less scared with the right partner, and so maybe it becomes a maybe, or it's just less of a hard no.
Or you may attend a workshop on it and find out, that's not so bad after all.
Exactly. So the reason we're doing this right now is that some people, because of the world, have some extra time on their hands. And so you might be at home with your kinky partner, or you might be separated from your kinky partner. We talked about that on a previous podcast episode live stream, links above and below. And if this is a time to maybe rework things in your relationship, BDSM checklist can help, because it might open your mind up to activities you hadn't thought about because they weren't on your radar. And maybe you have new avenues to explore in this time when so much else is uncertain, this
Yeah.
can be a thing that you get to focus on.
Absolutely.
We offer I think it's 7-page long BDSM checklist. When you subscribe to our newsletter, we only send out newsletters once a week, and when we take a break, we don't send out a newsletter at all. And that's new videos and blog posts and podcast episodes, and that's basically what it is. But when you sign up for our newsletter, we give you a free BDSM checklist to use. So the link will be down below if you are interested. We would love to have you as a newsletter subscriber. And you can get a checklist, but you can also just Google BDSM checklists. They're out there. So if you're interested, if you're like, I'd like to do that for myself, I'd like to do that with my partner. They're pretty quick and simple. You can do them separately. You can do them together. They're great for conversation starters.
Absolutely.
They're great to learn new things together. Maybe you you go to a workshop when workshops are available again.
Yes.
Maybe you learn something online. However you choose to do it. You read a book, you find a YouTube video, and you can explore more parts of your kinky selves alone or together. It works great either way, whether you're single or in a relationship. So that is what we have to say about BDSM checklists. Anything else we've ever talked about in terms of a checklist, we will link down below for you if you kind of want to do a deep dive. I'm not sure we've talked a lot about them. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either. I don't think, maybe not, but
BDSM checklists for most people are fairly common because many people do them, especially in their first kinky relationship.
Yeah.
If the other person is experienced, they'll go, oh, we got this checklist we got to do. And it's like, it's part of the negotiation process. But if you're not familiar with them, they're great tools. You can find them in many places. We offer one for free, but other places have them too. And they can start you on a journey of educating yourself about kinks you might not have even known existed.
and self-discovery.
And with everything going on in the world, some of us have a little bit more time for that. So let's take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and do something that feels good while we're living in stressful times. So if you enjoyed this video, learned something new, we gave you a good laugh, whatever, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel.
And hit that notification bell so you get notifications when we upload new content.
Sure, go ahead.
Yes, baby girl.
Yes, Dottie.
Thank
And
you.
if you really, really like what we do, you can join us on Patreon at patreon.com/KaylaLords. Bye.